This is a video of solutions for worksheet number 2. So question 1, part 1, we have 2x over 3 minus x over 4 is equal to 5 over 2. So the first thing that we notice is that all of the denominators are different. And when we're dealing with fractions, really all of them have to be the same. So there's a couple of ways of approaching this. The first thing that we're going to do is identify the lowest common multiple of 3, 4, and 2. So that number is 12. Now, because we have an equation, if we multiply every single term by 12, then we'll be able to cancel the denominators. We'll have an equation that we can solve easier. Okay, so I'm going to multiply every single term by 12. So 12 by x over 4, and not forgetting the right hand side, 12 multiplied by 5 over 2. So because I can do this because I'm multiplying every single term in the equation by the same value. 3 divides into 12 4 times, 4 divides into 12 3 times, and 2 divides into 12 6 times. And now I'm going to multiply out my brackets. So 4 multiplied by 2x gives me 8x. Minus 3 multiplied by x gives me minus 3x. And on the right side, 6 multiplied by 5 gives me 30. So 8 minus 3 gives me 5x is equal to 30. Because I'm multiplying by 5 on the left, I'll divide by 5 now on the right. And we find x is equal to 6. So one way of approaching it, as I said, find the lowest common multiple, which is 12. Multiply every single term by that number. We can divide the denominator into 12 before kind of multiplying it out. After we do that, we multiply out our brackets and we simplify to find x. Okay, now I'm going to look at another way of doing it. So this time, we're just going to look at the left-hand side first, and we're going to leave the right-hand side until we make the left-hand side a single fraction. So again, the lowest common multiple of 3 and 4 is 12, so we're using that for our denominator. Now, in order to change 3 to 12, I multiply it by 4, so I have to do the same thing on the top. So I have 4 multiplied by 2x. And then in order to change 4 to 12, I multiplied it by 3, so I have to do, again, the same thing at the top. So it's going to be minus 3 by x. And again, just being careful whenever we have signs that we don't forget about them. And then my right-hand side is staying the exact same. So just dealing with the two fractions on the left first of all. So now what I can do is multiply at the top. So I have 8x minus 3x, that's all over 12, is equal to 5 over 2. Now that I have single fractions on both sides, I can cross multiply. Because if I'm dividing by 12 on one side, I bring it across and I multiply on the other. And on the right, if I'm dividing by 2, I'm going to bring it across to the left and multiply everything by 2. So I get 2 multiplied by 8x minus 3x. We can just simplify here. We know that that's 5x. And 12 multiplied by 5. So just done cross multiplication. So now if I simplify, 2 by 5 gives me 10x. 12 by 5 gives me 60. So x is equal to 60 divided by 10. So x is equal to 6. So no matter what way I do it, whether I deal with it all at the one time by multiplying everything by 12, or whether I deal with the right and the left side separately and then simplify, I'll still get my same answer. So let's look at part 2. We have x plus 4 over 3 minus x over 4 is equal to 2. Now, this time again I'm going to deal with the left-hand side first and just let it equal to 2. So again, the denominator is going to be 12. So 3 multiplied by 4 gives me 12, so that means I have to multiply the top by 4 as well. 4 multiplied by 3 gives me 12, so I have to multiply the top by 3. That'll be equal to 2. Multiply out my brackets, 4x plus 16 minus 3x, all over 12, so I can't forget about the 12. That's equal to 2. I simplify. 4x minus 3x gives me 1x. So I have x plus 16 over 12 is equal to 2. Now, because I'm dividing by 12, I bring it across and I multiply. X plus 16 is equal to 24. X is equal to 24 minus 16. So x is equal to 8. So what I could have done here again is the other way. So I could multiply every single term by 12 and I'll still get the same answer. So let's just try to show that we will get the same thing. So 12 multiplied by x plus 4 over 3 minus 12 multiplied by x over 4 is equal to 12 multiplied by 2. So just because 2 isn't a fraction on the right, it doesn't mean that we forget about it. We still have to multiply everything by 12. So 3 divides into 12 4 times, 4 divides into 12 3 times. We multiply everything out. So 4x plus 16 minus 3x is equal to 24. 4x minus 3x gives us x, so we have x plus 16 equals 24. X is equal to 24 minus 16, so x is equal to 8. So again, 2 ways of finding the exact same answer. What I would suggest is you pick the one that you're most comfortable with and you use that most of the time, but just be familiar with both ways and make sure that you understand both ways of doing it. What we don't want to happen is that you use kind of part of one method and part of another and get the question wrong because you're not doing it kind of correctly. Okay, so for question 2, what we're working on is simplifying fractions. So the first one, we're given a half plus an eighth. Okay, so when we're just simplifying, again, we're making it a single fraction. It's going to be similar to what we've done before. Our denominator is going to be 8. So I change 2 to 8 by multiplying by 4. So again, I have to do the same thing on the top for the first fraction. The second fraction is staying the same. So I have 4 plus 1 over 8. So I have 5 over 8. Part 2. 5x over 3 minus x over 2. Here it's going to be 6. So 3 multiplied by 2 is 6, so I have to multiply that side by 2. 2 multiplied by 3 gives me 6, so I have to multiply this side by 3. So I simplify by multiplying out my brackets. 10x minus 3x over 6. So we get 7x over 6. And part 3. 2 over x plus 5 plus 3 over x. So in this case, our common denominator, if we look at the previous example with 2, our common denominator was the product of the two denominators, so 3 and 2, to give us 6. So when we have algebra, when we have x plus 5 and x, the common denominator again is going to be the product of the two. So when I say product, it means that we're multiplying the 2 on the bottom. So we'll have x by x plus 5. Okay, so if we look at the first fraction, we have to multiply the bottom by x. So that means we have to multiply the top by x as well. So we'll have 2 by x. And then our second fraction, we've multiplied x by x plus 5. So again, we have to do the same on the top. So we get plus 3 by x plus 5. Okay, and then we simplify. So 2x plus 3x plus 15 all over x by x plus 5. 3x plus 2x gives us 5x, so 5x plus 15 over x plus 5. So that's question 2. And on to the last one, our question 3. So in this one, we're asked to write down an expression for the perimeter of a triangle. Now we're given a triangle and the sides are a over 4, a over 3, and a over 2. So we know if we're finding the perimeter of anything, we have to find the sum of the sides. So we're just going to be adding them. a over 4 plus a over 3 plus a over 2. So the denominator that we're going to use, which we've been using a lot in this, is 12. So 4 by 3 gives us 12, so that means we have to multiply the top by 3 as well. 4 by 3, so the top multiplied by 4 this time. And 2 multiplied by 6 gives us 12, so again we have to do the same thing on the top. Now, you don't have to do what I'm just writing here in blue, but just if you're unsure of why you're multiplying different things, just might be helpful. You might find it helpful to just write that in. But when you get familiar with the questions, you won't really need to. Okay, so again, we're just going to multiply the brackets on the top. Again, not forgetting that it's still all over 12. 3a plus 4a gives us 7a plus 6a gives us 13a over 12. So that's it for worksheet 2.